When speaking about the influence of friends and associates in your life, you often hear that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You as a man tend to imitate the persons by whom you are surrounded, regardless if such a tendency will do harm or good in your life. Even though to some degree such a statement is true and the development of civilization itself has been dependent largely upon people imitating other people, you have to also realize, friend, that such a statement removes responsibility from your side when it comes to your own development as a mature man. Even if you are replicating the actions, thoughts and beliefs of the ones around you, the person that you tend to imitate the most is yourself. The fact that you are doing a thing once in a certain way will make it easier for you to do the same thing again in the same way. Through repeated actions you form habits, and the more often the actions are repeated, the more fixed your habits become. With time, you cannot do that specific thing in a different way without great effort, until finally it may become almost impossible for you to do it in a different way. The force of habits is not so obvious, and so it is easy for you to tend to ignore the power they have in your life. To have an everyday life example for you, pay attention next time as you are putting on your clothes, your jacket for example. Notice how every time you always put the same arm first into the sleeve of your jacket. It may be the right arm, it may be the left arm, but it is always the same one. If I were to ask you out of the blue to tell me which arm you put in first, you probably could not tell me. But as soon as you dress up and start putting on your jacket, the arm which commonly goes first will make its movement, and doing it in any other way will require of you a strong act of will. Observe, friend, in any domain of life how skill is acquired through repetition and habits, so that any task goes on better when you are not thinking about it. Look around you and notice the same principle in action in the lives of others as well. The fingers of a skillful pianist take care of themselves because through training, habits become strong, almost to the level of a reflex. So strong does habit become in someone's life that it is said to be impossible for a good swimmer to drown himself. Such a high level of habituation, where habit has become an instinct, will lead your body to practice the actions that it has learned automatically, in spite of yourself. Forming such habits has great advantages for you, since your body will be trained to do the work while your mind is left free to become busy with something else. Through strong habits you will be able to make real progress in life, since what you have learned will be secured with you. Think of how hard it would be if with every task, with every action that you take, you had continually to start again from the beginning. If every time you tie your shoes you had to learn the process all over again. This fact applies to everything that you do and to every relation in your life. You can make a habit of honesty, of kindness, of loyalty, and of whatever you will. This means that becoming a virtuous man is nothing more than building a habit of doing the right thing. Imagine now, friend, what power you actually have over your life. It is not that others won't have an influence on you, but you are shaping your life to a large extent as you make choices, and then, through habit, you will harden your choices, giving them shape and purpose. As good as this sounds, remember that this matter has obviously another side, a darker side as well. Bad habits form as readily as good ones, and if you think harder about this statement, you will realize that bad habits actually form even faster than good habits, because virtue requires more effort than faults. You tend to drift into faulty behavior by default, but to make the best out of life you have to take control of it and guide it, a process that requires effort. Take some time and think, friend, how many bad habits have you formed? Habits of carelessness, of selfishness, or others that are even worse. Unfortunately, bad habits are probably the last thing that you are afraid of. How many times have you thought that you are actually always acting from your own choice? That it does not matter what you do now because another time, whenever you wish, you can do it differently, ignoring the fact that through your actions, a certain habit is forming and hardening, until you find yourself almost helpless in the end. That one time that you indulged into eating those sweets that eventually turned into one time too many, leaving you out of shape, out of breath, and having a hard time making the right dietary changes to become healthy again. That one time that you decided to play your favorite game, ignoring your studies or other important tasks, that eventually turned into hours or days of entertainment, bad performance at your university or job, and an addiction that gets triggered as soon as you see the controller of your gaming console. And so even your tastes, your amusements, your selection of movies and books, the tendencies even of your most secret thoughts, and the mind and bodily cravings that were supposed to be a one-time thing are becoming fixed, and you are becoming permanently the person you meant to be only for a short moment. Never forget that habits have the power to shape you or break you, friend. Therefore keep in mind a question that you should often ask yourself. What care should I take of the habits which are to affect so strongly and permanently my body, my mind, and my heart? Be honest enough to realize that you are influenced by your actions daily, and that strong and bad habits can direct your life on a path towards misery, hardship, and despair. But also understand that habits can be changed, and you have the freedom and responsibility to remake them. On your pursuit for success and excellence, never forget that in order to achieve greatness, you must learn to master good habits in the little things, because mastery and excellence is nothing more than a prevailing attitude. In your daily life, do you pass the blame for your failures on the influence of the environment around you, or do you take ownership of the habits that you have, changing constantly the ones that do not serve you well? The choices you will make and the habits you will form will dictate the quality of your life.